Good morning and welcome back to the farm. I thought we'd do a quick walk around the garden and see what's still in good shape, what I need to start replacing, and what it's time to just give up and put to bed for the year. So let's start over in this corner. All right, so this was my lettuce bed, and I haven't gotten much lettuce out of it yet, but it looks like it's starting to start. I can see there's a romaine right here, and the Azrea is coming up pretty good there, and I've got a couple of butter crunches. So that's looking good. I need to clear out the turnips, and I'm pretty sure this is radish going to seed. My mom and I saw this article about eating radish pods, so I may just let that go and experiment. This in the middle is the celery. It's Utah celery, and if you come down here, let's see if we can show that. That's looking really nice. I've never grown celery before, so I'm not sure what to think about it, but or when to start harvesting it, more importantly. And what I'm going to do is, I mean, you can't really preserve celery. So what I'll do is I'll chop it all up and freeze it, and then I'll have it just to throw a handful into soups and whatever. I do have some bunching onions that I planted coming up. They seem to be doing pretty well, so I'm going to leave those be for a while. I also have a tray here that I never got around to planting. It's still trying, I don't know. And then on this side, I have some of those lettuces that I put in that I got in the box. And those are definitely ready for picking. I also need to come along the edge of the whole garden with the weed whacker and get that all cleaned up. Pea bed number 1 is still, I mean, it's putting on flowers, so I think I can leave this and see what it'll produce as we go into fall. I don't see any fruits on it yet, but it's putting off shoots and it's very dense, so we'll see what it's going to do. I also have a tomato back there. No flowers, but it's been so hot it wasn't going to set fruit anyway. So we'll leave all of that be and let it do what it's going to do. This bed I had spinach here, and I've got bok choy and tatsoi down there. I never got around to using the bok choy, so that's going to seed. The tatsoi I need to start harvesting, and at the very least either freezing or drying it, and figuring out if I actually like to eat it. So I've got to figure out how to cook it. Supposedly you can use it interchangeably with spinach, which is why I planted it, because spinach can be so finicky. And then I never planted anything in the middle here. So I think what I want to do is pull most of this up. I'll probably leave the tatsoi. And then I'm going to plant the rest of it to beans, to bush beans. I'm not a big bean fan, but it is good to have some available if you want to do soups or a side dish, or I don't know, pretend you're eating healthy, so you've got to have a vegetable on your plate. You can throw beans on. This pea bed is the one that took the brunt of the groundhog or whatever it was. So I think I'm going to pull all of this out and give it to the chickens, which they are going to love. And I'm going to replant it all with beets. The critters ate every single beet I put in both of the pea beds. So I'm just going to start from scratch, clean this all up, mulch it good, and then put beets in. And then I should get enough beets to do my pickling and canning for the winter. The winter squash bed, I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm pretty sure it's too late to get any fruits off of it. But there's no point in pulling it all up if it's still growing. I mean, look, I've still got plants that are either coming back or, oh, I've got some flowers over there. The Hubbard squashes are toast, and I'm not going to get anything out of those. But like, I've got a flower there, and that one, oh, that's my Rouge V. So I don't know if I'll actually get anything off it, but there's no harm in leaving it, so I'm going to leave it. This is I had a bunch of volunteer chamomile come up this year in the garden, which I've loved harvesting from. So I'm just going to leave that be as well and just keep collecting the flowers off it and let those dry. All right, next bed to look at. All right, this was the brassica bed, and it looks like it might actually be doing something. So these were cabbages, these are cauliflower, and even without having the fence up, they look like they're trying to come back. So I'm going to leave these be and let them do their thing. The cucumber bed, I'm going to have to take a deeper look at. And I have to weed the shit out of it. Pardon my language. I'm going to have to weed the heck out of it because you can see I've got some little plants coming in. But with all the weeds, it's hard to tell what I actually have going. I have enough time to start from scratch, but if I don't have to, I'd rather not. So I need to come in and clean this bed up good and see what I have and what I need, and then I can just plant in place replacements and get that cleaned up. I also have one of the volunteer tomato plants is encroaching in here, so I want to get that cleaned up. And I have a ton of parsnips coming up finally, so that I'm very excited about. I just need to do a quick cleanup of the asparagus and strawberry bed. I'm not doing anything with that. I'm not touching it except to compost it and mulch it, and so that I need to work on. You can see here, well, I've got a cucumber bush that seems to be doing well, but these tomato plants are just going crazy. I've done no trellising, I've done no pruning, just because I didn't want to weaken the plant to a point where if they did get munched, it was going to cause them problems. So now it's causing problems. It looks like it might be a cherry variety, at least this one here. So we'll see what it does. My Costaludos, speaking of tomatoes, my Costaludos are trying to come back. I need to come through and prune the heck out of all of this basil because it's all starting to go to seed, and there's no point in that when I can get it inside and dry it. This tomato bed, again, I haven't done any maintenance on it. I have not taken off suckers. I have not done any trellising, so they're going to do what they're going to do. But there's a lot of flowers, and I can see lots of fruits coming in. So I probably won't get enough for canning this year, but at least I'll have something. And I'm looking forward to seeing what I can get from that. I may try and go through it now, after the horses got out, and try and do some trimming back to just open it up. With it being this dense, it's really prone to things like blight. So if I can open it up and get some air circulation through, it's going to be better for it. we looked over the squash, and the summer squash is doing great. So I'm not going to replant any summer squash. In fact, I think I need to go through and pick all of this. The pepper bed seems to be doing really well. I don't see any fruits coming on yet. Although the snacking peppers that I bought as a big plant at the plant sale seem to be doing well. So at least I'll get something out of it. But those I'm going to leave. And I've got some, those are supposed to be bulbing onions. And I don't know how many bulbs I'm going to actually get. Which brings us to one of the onion beds. So these are the leeks. Obviously needs cleaning up. But they aren't very big. And more significantly, down here, these are my red onions, and they are not doing anything. They are not bulbing at all. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get onions out of here this year. And so my plan for next year is I'm going to winter sow or fall sow all of my onions, so that come spring they'll come up on their own when they're ready, and I won't have to be planting a million onions on my own. I also have a couple of Brussels sprout plants. I've got these two here and 2 or 3 there, which hopefully now that they don't have the pest pressure, they're gonna be able to come back, and I'll have Brussels sprouts for Thanksgiving. The potatoes are looking done. This was all very full and bushy a couple of weeks ago, and now it's just getting patchy. I never saw flowers on it, so I don't know if that means I'm not going to get many potatoes, or it ran its course and now it's done. So I've got Crow and their boyfriend are coming up this weekend. Actually, this week. They're coming up today. They're on their way right now, and they're going to be here until Thursday. So I may get their help and get all of this harvested, remulch it, and then in October, November, I'm going to put the garlic in here. And I won't even have to remulch it because it'll still have all the straw down that was here for the potatoes. This bed was my broccoli. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3 broccoli plants that are still doing anything. So I'm going to start some new broccoli and get those put in here, because I need to freeze quite a bit of broccoli because I use it quite a bit. And then these are my yellow onions, and the same as we saw with the red onions, they're not doing a whole lot. So, I mean, I'm just going to leave them until they crump out, and we'll see if I get anything out of it. But as of right now, it's not looking very promising. And then this is my watermelon bed, or my melon bed. And I never had any pressure on the melon plants. They're just slow growing. So, again, everything looks really healthy here, so I'm just going to leave that be and let it do its thing. So that's where we're at. I'm going to replant fall lettuce. I'm going to put beans in. I'm going to put another crop of greens in. I'm going to plant the beets. What else? I may take out the bed with the Costaludos. I'm not sure. I got to think about that. Just because they're so far behind, I just don't know if they can catch up at this point. And it might be better just to empty that bed and put something else in there that I can use. I need to find a space for winter greens. Not wintergreen, but winter greens. So my kale, my Swiss chard, fall spinach, that sort of thing. And what I'd really like to do with the 2 beds on either side of the path is come September, October, I'm going to put low hoops on it to put greenhouse fabric over to protect them, to see how much longer I can extend the season beyond the summer. I think that's pretty much it for the garden at the moment. So I've got, and obviously, as you can see as we're walking through, I need to do a ton of weeding. So I'll have Crow and Ken here, so see if I can get them to help me with some of that. I have some heavier jobs that I want their help with, so we may be focused on that. And start getting stuff planted in the greenhouse for planting in the ground in a month or so. So, but that's the garden. Now let's see what we can do with it. I love having a garden full of flowers.